Welcome to Charts Today Energy. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 13th of December, comes to you from London. And we're seeing the energy mix is mostly up this morning, so that's looking quite strong. Just taking a look at the macro, the dollar index is down very slightly, but still holding its bullish position. The euro still weak against the dollar and heading into bearish territory long term. So that dollar strength still dominating, and we're seeing that showing in the yen. Normally shows up here first. Dollar yen is the dollar showing strength. Sterling is holding up surprisingly well, crossing to medium term bullish, short term bullish. Interestingly, the rise that we saw yesterday, we're holding on to that rise and just pushing a little bit higher, but the medium and long term picture is still dire, and the recent lows, the 18-month lows that we saw this week, have activated new big downside targets. So it's not good news on the longer term picture. Looking at the euro against sterling, we're seeing sterling is actually just pushing a little bit higher here as well. Against the Swiss franc, sterling is actually also just breaking higher. Markets are mostly mixed. We've seen the UK market actually moving around a bit this morning, but stocks generally open higher in Europe on a stronger Asia and then have started falling away. So we're seeing that return to sentiment. Gold is down slightly, but still holding its bullish position. And US 10-year yields have just started turning positive again, so that change is kicking in. Taking a look at the energy mix, looking at crude oil first. Brent crude down very slightly this morning, has been up, made a sort of sharp recovery and then falling away again. We do have on the 1 minute chart a new downside target of 57.70 just activated. That's 4% lower for Brent crude. So it's a lone target at the moment, but that's the one we're looking to. So it does look like we're testing this longer term support level right now. Of course, new lows for crude would be very bad indeed. We are entering soon the stronger period for crude oil as well. Looking at WTI, similar picture, of course, not quite making new lows this morning. We do have longer term downside targets and a downside target here of 2.7%. So that's quite key. Looking at the correlations as well, positively correlated on the short-term chart with the dollar, negatively correlated on the medium-term daily chart, as you might expect. US Natgas fell back very sharply yesterday. You might recall we talked yesterday about the downside targets. 408, 407 met. So interestingly, we've come all the way back. Does look like we might be breaking down out of this triangle pattern, so that would be bearish for the chart. Need to see. It's still a little bit early to say. Looking at heating oil, we are seeing here that which is similar to crude, just falling away a bit. The downside target's there, but not quite as clear. And if we look at RBOB, we're seeing we do have an upside target, but again, some downside targets dominating. Similar picture to crude. Looking to coal, and this data coming to you from Thomson Reuters Icon, of course. If you've got Trayport, you might have slightly different targets with your liquidity being a bit better on API2. We talked this week about upside targets. We've still got 92, 94. That's the main target. These 87, 87, 62 targets given and met when they're and passed, and when they're surpassed like that, that's bullish. We're seeing here coal just this week has been steadily rising, so we are really seeing a bit of a turnaround here, and we've got an upside target of 80, 89.70. That's the target on the 1 minute chart that we're currently playing for. Again, your Trayport targets might be slightly different in Updata. Looking at the emissions charts, emissions is steadied this morning. We see that we've again been on a bit of a rise this week. We're back to bullish above the cloud, so that's on the short term, and medium term improving there as well. We've got upside targets 24.11, 23.35 on the 60-minute chart. On the 1 minute chart, which tends to be pretty good for emissions, we've got this downside target of 21.33, upside target of 23.58, so that's the one to play for at the moment. Looking at gas, NBP is up nearly 2% this morning, so a nice big jump there. Heading back into short-term bullish on the 60-minute chart. We've got 71.03 as an upside target there, and we've got 70.05, 70.07, those upside targets. This one not yet activated, but looking like we're going higher yet. TTF up 2% this morning. We've got good activated upside targets as well here, so that's looking quite good as well. Keep an eye on those 1-minute charts through the day. NCG, we're seeing higher as well, and Italian gas sitting 2% higher as there too. Looking at power, we're seeing German power's up 1.8% this morning. Nice steady jump from the chart. We had a good steady rise yesterday. We've jumped higher. We're bullish on the short-term chart, with the correlation with crude quite strong. So if crude on the daily chart, negative on the short-term chart, and if we take a look at the 1-minute chart, this is really what most traders want to see. 54.50 and 54.60 were the targets. Those targets were given back near 52 and 53, so we're nearly getting there. No new targets to speak of, so we'll need to see what happens as that develops. French power up 1.7%. We've got upside targets here, 63.20, 63.25, and if we look at Nordic power, also looking pretty strong. Gunning for these targets, 55.30, 55.20. We're now 45.20. We're now there. So 49, 46. So we really are seeing targets improving there as well. Dutch power also up 1.8%. Polish power up 1.8%, and Italian power also up 1.9%. Less liquid, of course, and targets less clear. That's it for today. Until tomorrow. Happy charting. See you then.